4:30 in the morning. May 28, 2026. A suffocating blanket of thick fog clings to the jagged limestone of the Dangrek Mountains. The unforgiving natural divide between Cambodia and Thailand. The air carries the biting chill of late winter. A cold that seeps through ballistic vests and settles deep into the marrow of the soldiers stationed along the frontier. It is the silence that is most terrifying, a heavy, compressed stillness that feels like a physical weight on the chest. This is not the peace of nature, it is a calculated, tactical vacuum, the deceptive calm that precedes a kinetic eruption of violence. In the disputed sectors surrounding the ancient Preah Vihear temple and stretching toward the Kontharalak district of Sisaket province, the Thai border security forces remain in a state of rhythmic, exhausted slumber. They are unaware that just hundreds of meters away, under the dense canopy of ancient dipterocarp trees, the scythe of the Grim Reaper has already been sharpened. Moving like weightless phantoms through the undergrowth are 200 operators from the People's Liberation Army Special Operations Forces. Clad in high-tech, dark patterned camouflage that dissolves into the shadows, they navigate the terrain with predatory precision. This is an elite element. A decapitation strike force trained for deep penetration and the systematic dismantling of enemy command and control nodes. Noticeably absent is the hum of reconnaissance UAVs. To bypass Thailand's sophisticated early warning radar and electronic warfare arrays, these operators have abandoned digital footprints in favor of classic, high-stakes infiltration. They rely on raw instinct and thousands of hours of fieldcraft to remain invisible. Their objective is absolute: to blind the eyes of the Thai military, the forward observation posts and communication relays, before the main iron fist of the heavy brigades crosses the threshold. At Observation Post 401, perched precariously over the valley, three-man tactical teams coordinate in total silence, using only hand signals to synchronize their lethality. Blackened steel tactical blades are unsheathed with a cold, metallic whisper. The execution is surgical, devastating, and final. Thai sentries are neutralized before a single finger can reach a distress trigger. Hardwired communication lines are severed, and radio equipment is rendered useless with chemical foam. In less than 15 minutes, the entire early warning chain along a 5-kilometer stretch of the border has been gouged out. The stage is set. The silence is about to be replaced by the roar of the apocalypse. 5 o'clock in the morning. The signal for the onslaught is not a flare or radio transmission, but a violent, rhythmic shuddering of the earth itself. Behind the ridgelines on the Cambodian side of the border, the long, cold barrels of the Royal Cambodian Artillery Brigade elevate in unison, their muzzles aimed like accusing fingers at the Thai heartland. With a single, thunderous command, the horizon erupts. The pre-dawn sky, once a canvas of deep indigo and morning mist, is instantly torn asunder by thousands of crisscrossing streaks of fire. This is the activation of the Grad and Type 63 multiple launch rocket systems. An iron rain designed for one purpose: total saturation. The scream of the rockets, a terrifying, high-pitched wail, cuts through the air moments before the impact zones at Kontharalak are transformed into a living hell. This is the opening salvo, a doctrine of overwhelming fire designed to shatter the enemy's will before the first tank even crosses the line. The first explosions are cataclysmic: 122mm and 131mm shells, traveling at supersonic velocities, plow into the Thai earth with the force of small meteors. Concrete bunkers, reinforced over decades of border tension, are reduced to fine dust and jagged rebar in a matter of seconds. The shockwaves are so intense they can be felt 7 points on the Richter scale, tossing armored vehicles like autumn leaves and collapsing the very trenches meant to protect the defenders. From a military analysis perspective, this is not merely a display of brute force, it is a clinical, multi-domain suppression of the enemy's senses. By targeting the command and control infrastructure and known radar positions with GPS-guided precision, the attacking force has effectively blinded and deafened the Thai military's regional response. When the first shells hit the communication towers, the flow of information dies. Orders are cut off in mid-sentence. Fire support requests from the front lines vanish into static. For the Thai soldiers caught in the impact zone, the world has shrunk to the size of their foxhole. filled only with the deafening roar of high explosives and the metallic tang of burnt cordite. The sensory experience on the ground is an assault on human biology. There is the blinding flash of the explosions that dyes the sky a bruised, angry red. There is the smell, a nauseating cocktail of scorched earth, vaporized diesel, and the bitter, chemical stench of high-grade explosives. And then, there is the sound, a continuous, rolling thunder that pounds against the eardrums until they bleed. A relentless, drumfire, that makes it impossible to think, to breathe, or to resist. In those first 10 minutes, the defensive grid of the Thai Second Army region is wiped from the tactical map. The heavy artillery does not just destroy physical structures, it erodes the psychological foundation of the defense. Survivors, emerging from the ruins of their outposts, find a landscape that is no longer recognizable. The ancient forests have been splintered into toothpicks. The roads are cratered beyond use. As the Cambodian artillery shifts its fire deeper into the interior to prevent reinforcements from arriving, a new sound begins to emerge from the smoke, a low, rhythmic clatter that signals the next phase of the nightmare. The iron flood is coming, and there is nothing left to stop it. As the curtain of artillery fire shifts its focus deeper into the Thai interior, a new, predatory sound dominates the frontier. It is the rhythmic, metallic clatter of tank treads and the deep, throaty growl of high-output diesel engines. From the concealed staging areas across the border, the Cambodian 3rd Infantry Division begins its rapid thrust into Thai territory. Leading this iron flood are the Type 59 and upgraded T-55 main battle tanks. To a casual observer, these vehicles might seem like relics of the Cold War. However, under the guidance of foreign advisors, these steel monsters have been transformed into lethal modern platforms. Outfitted with add-on explosive reactive armor, ERA, and digitized fire control systems, they are perfectly suited for the rugged, forested terrain of the Dangrek Mountains. The ERA blocks, looking like a mosaic of metal bricks across the hulls, are designed to neutralize incoming anti-tank rounds by detonating outward, shattering the shaped charge jets before they can penetrate the main armor. The scene at the border is one of absolute destruction. The heavy treads of the T-55 tanks grind over the twisted remains of barbed wire fences and concrete border markers, obliterating the legal boundary in a matter of seconds. Plumes of thick, black exhaust smoke fill the air as the tanks lunge forward, their 100mm rifled guns spitting tongues of flame at any remaining Thai resistance. Following closely behind are squads of Cambodian infantry, armed with QBJ-97 assault rifles. They move in tam-tam formations, small, three-man tactical cells, using the armored hulls of the tanks as mobile shields, clearing trenches and bunkers with ruthless efficiency. On the opposite side of the line, the soldiers of the Thai 6th Infantry Regiment find themselves in a desperate struggle for survival. After the initial shock of the artillery bombardment, they attempt to reorganize their defenses in the chaos. From the ruins of their foxholes, they open fire with TAR-21 rifles and heavy machine guns. But the small arms fire simply sparks harmlessly off the thick frontal glacis plates of the oncoming Type 59 tanks. At a critical hairpin turn on the road leading into Kontharalak, a Thai M40 recoilless rifle crew attempts to hold the line. The gunner, eyes stinging from smoke and sweat, boresights the lead tank. A deafening crack echoes through the valley as the anti-tank round streaks forward, striking the T-55 directly in its tracks. The tank shudders, its tread unspooling like a dead snake, leaving it spinning helplessly in the middle of the road. But the victory is momentary. Before the Thai crew can reload, the turret of the second tank in the column slews toward them. A single high-explosive shell detonates directly on their position, leaving nothing but a smoldering crater and the nauseating scent of burnt cordite. While the main armored column hammers the front, the elite PLA Special Forces units transition into their next role, the Tram 2, or decapitation strike. They do not follow the roads. Instead, they vanish into the vast rubber plantations flanking the highways, moving like ghosts through the rhythmic rows of trees. They utilize suppressed submachine guns and flashbang grenades to systematically eliminate Thai mortar crews and logistics teams who are trying to establish fire support positions. This is the essence of the blitzkrieg, or shock and awe, tactics. It is a coordinated symphony of violence where the enemy is attacked from the front by heavy armor, from the flanks by elite infantry, and from within by the collapse of their command structure. By 6:15 in the morning, as the weak light of dawn begins to pierce the smoke, the first line of the Thai border defense has utterly disintegrated. The tanks bearing the five-tower flag have surged more than 2 kilometers into Thailand, their treads stained with the red soil of the frontier. The steel flood is no longer a threat, it is an agonizing reality, rolling toward the population centers with terrifying momentum. 10:15 in the morning. The tactical situation has reached a critical boiling point. To prevent the complete collapse of the southern defense of the Second Army region, the Royal Thai Military Command decides to play its most powerful cards. The battlefield is no longer a localized border skirmish. It has evolved into a high-stakes duel of sophisticated machinery and long-range lethality. At a concealed staging area 15 kilometers north of the front, the first pride of the Thai army begins its work, the Caesar 155mm self-propelled howitzers. These French-made monsters are the masters of shoot and scoot tactics. Within seconds of coming to a halt, their automated loading systems are primed, and their ballistic computers have ingested the precise coordinates of the advancing Cambodian columns. The fire is thunderous. 6-round bursts are unleashed in less than 3 minutes, sending 40-kilogram high-explosive shells screaming through the atmosphere at supersonic speeds. 10 kilometers away, the Cambodian armored spearhead is hit by a localized earthquake. A T-55 tank is struck directly on its thin turret roof, the impact liquefying the steel and tossing the multi-ton turret 40 meters into the air like a discarded toy. The iron flood is forced to grind to a halt as the road becomes a graveyard of burning rubber and shattered treads. But the most dramatic shift occurs in the sky. The horizon is suddenly torn by the ear-splitting roar of Pratt & Whitney engines as a flight of 4 F-16 Fighting Falcons from the Ubon Ratchathani Air Base screams across the combat zone. These are not mere aircraft, they are precision strike platforms carrying Mark 82 bombs and Maverick air-to-ground missiles. The F-16s dive from the clouds, their laser-guided munitions tracking the heat signatures of the Cambodian command vehicles. Columns of greasy black smoke, shaped like monstrous mushrooms, erupt from the highway as the airstrikes systematically dismantle the enemy's logistical tail. The reaction from the attacking force is instantaneous and lethal. This is where the presence of the foreign advisors becomes undeniable, hidden within the dense rubber plantations and atop the ruins of captured buildings. Manned portable air defense systems, or manpads, specifically the QW-18 and fluorine mononitride 6, are launched in rapid succession. White smoke trails zigzag across the blue sky, homing in on the heat of the F-16 exhausts. Thai pilots are forced into desperate, high-G evasive maneuvers, punching out curtains of magnesium flares to decoy the incoming missiles while their afterburners roar in a race for altitude. Amidst this technological symphony of destruction, a human tragedy unfolds. The artillery duel does not recognize civilian boundaries. Due to the density of the fire and the inherent margin of error in rapid response barrages, shells begin to rain down upon the national highway, where thousands of Thai civilians are trapped in a desperate mass evacuation. A stray 155mm shell strikes a bridge crowded with fleeing families. The result is a scene of biblical horror. The screams of the injured are drowned out by the relentless thunder of the guns, and the red soil of the frontier is stained a deeper, darker crimson. By 11:30, the atmosphere is thick with the scent of ozone, burnt diesel, and the metallic tang of blood. The Thai military has checked the momentum of the invasion, but they have not broken it. The Cambodian forces, utilizing their superior numbers and the tactical advice of their shadow partners, begin to adjust. They move closer to the Thai lines, a tactic known as grabbing the enemy by the belt, to prevent the F-16s from dropping bombs for fear of hitting their own men. The war of attrition has begun, and the ultimate prize, the high ground, is now the only thing that matters. 16:15 in the afternoon. The tropical sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, bleeding a bruised, sickly orange across the sky. a reflection of the fresh blood soaking the earth below. The ultimate objective of the invading force now looms ahead. Point 625. This is not just a hill, it is a jagged limestone monolith that dominates the entire Konthrolak Valley. From its summit, long-range artillery can strike with impunity, and the entire Thai defensive grid is laid bare. The Thai command, realizing the existential threat, has deployed its most feared unit to hold the peak, the Taharn Phran, or the Black Rangers. These are elite light infantry, legendary for their endurance and their ability to thrive in the harshest jungle conditions. On point 625, the battle ceases to be a display of armored vehicles and high-altitude jets. The steep, rocky slopes and razor-sharp limestone outcrops make it impossible for tanks to climb. This is now a war of boots, bayonets, and raw human courage. The Cambodian 9th Infantry Brigade, bolstered by specialized units of the Foreign Advisors, begins the final ascent. There is no ceremonial bugle call, only the primal roar of soldiers charging through a storm of lead. From the summit, the Black Rangers unleash a torrential downpour of fire. M60 machine guns bark incessantly, their barrels glowing cherry red, while M79 grenade launchers thump rhythmically, sending fragmentation rounds into the climbing ranks. The carnage is absolute. Waves of attackers are cut down before they can even reach the base of the cliffs, their bodies tumbling down the ravines. But for every soldier who falls, two more surge forward, stepping over the corpses of their comrades to gain a few more inches of ground. This is the attrition of the soul, where human life is consumed as rapidly as a match in a hurricane. The turning point comes at 1700 hours. Utilizing their superior climbing gear and thermal optics, the elite Foreign Special Forces identify a lethal vulnerability on the eastern face, a vertical limestone wall that the Thai defenders deemed impassable. Using high-tension ropes and expert mountaineering skills, they scale the cliff in total silence. Bypassing the main kill zones, they emerge behind the Thai lines and unleash a devastating volley of grenades into the machine gun nests. The primary fire support of the Black Rangers is silenced in a heartbeat. Without their suppressive fire, the front line collapses as the main wave of attackers boils over the crest. The combat dissolves into a savage, close-quarters melee. There is no room for marksmanship here, only the blunt trauma of rifle butts against skulls, the sickening slide of tactical blades into flesh, and the desperate screams of men locked in a death struggle. Bayonets and entrenching tools become the primary instruments of survival. The blood of Thai, Cambodian, and foreign soldiers mingles, soaking the parched, unyielding earth. At 1745, the cacophony of gunfire fades into a haunting silence. The attacking force has seized point 625. Through the swirling dust and cordite smoke, a Cambodian soldier, his uniform in tatters and his face masked in blood and soot, staggers toward the shattered remains of a Thai radio antenna. In his hands is the five-tower flag, stained with the soot of battle. With the last of his strength, he drives the flagpole into a crevice in the rock. The Cambodian flag unfurls, snapping aggressively in the evening wind, a defiant symbol of territorial conquest on foreign soil. For the victors, this is the pinnacle of their campaign, a moment of nationalistic fervor and calculated vengeance. For the Thai forces retreating in the shadows of the valley below, it is a searing, unbearable humiliation, a wound to the national pride that they swear will be repaid in blood. The high ground is lost, but the war has only just begun to find its true, horrifying rhythm. The sun disappears, leaving the peak in a cold, unforgiving darkness, lit only by the flickering fires of the dead. 1830. Darkness descends like a heavy shroud over the charred remains of the frontier. The kinetic violence of the day has slowed to a rhythmic, agonizing pulse. The boundary lines on the tactical maps have been redrawn, not by diplomats, but by the cold grinding of tank treads and the absolute finality of the grave. The Thai military has established a new defensive perimeter 5 kilometers north of Konthrolak. In the flicker of burning wreckage, the logistical reality of the defeat sets in. Engineers work frantically to demolish strategic bridges, sacrificing infrastructure to buy time, while the remnants of the Second Army region regroup in the shadows of the deep forest. The conventional war has ended for today. But the seeds of a long-term, asymmetric resistance are being sown in the darkness. At the makeshift field hospitals, the silence is broken only by the low groans of the wounded and the frantic clatter of surgical instruments. Doctors move through a sea of olive drab and blackened bandages, fighting a desperate battle against the clock. Among them sits a young Thai soldier, his face etched with the soot of .625 and the 1,000-yard stare of a man who has seen the abyss. He clutches a tattered unit patch, his eyes fixed on the distant, glowing summit of the hill they lost. In his gaze, there is no defeat, only a cold, crystalline resolve. This is the transition from tactics to will, a silent vow that the land taken in blood will be reclaimed in fire. The geopolitical shockwaves of the Tet Bin Go campaign are already rippling through the corridors of power in Washington, Beijing, and Brussels. The United Nations Security Council has called for an emergency session as global powers begin the shadow dance of mobilization. A regional border dispute has ignited a global chessboard, proving that a single spark in the jungles of Southeast Asia can threaten the stability of the modern world. As the first stars appear, cold and indifferent to the suffering below, the blackened husks of tanks stand like ancient monuments to fallen empires. The smell of death is now the dominant scent of the mountain air. The victors may hold the high ground for tonight, but they are standing on a volcano of resentment. The Spring of Fire of 2026 will be remembered not as a conclusion, but as the opening chapter of a much darker, much longer chronicle of blood and steel. We left to return in the thunder. The war for the heart of the Northeast has only just begun.